Now, though, Scooby-Doo and the alien invasion. And those crooks would have got away with it if it hadn't been for those pesky kids. 5 have given this film a universal rating because it's suitable for all the family.
The 5 family movie with Cadbury fingers. Sorry, Thumb. It's a finger thing.
Hey, what's that smell? Oh, just some cologne they had in the restroom.
One large pan or Italian pizza with potato wedges and garlic bread, plus 2 movie tickets, all for just $14.99. Grab a slice of the action.
Who needs long-lasting lipsticks that dry your lips? Maybelline's got one that lasts and stays on smooth.
Forever.
New Maybelline Forever Lip Color. Long-wearing color stays on hour after hour after hour. The big news? It won't dare flake or dry out. Smooth glide formula to keep color fresh, lips smooth.
How smooth is that?
Can your long-lasting lipstick pass the smooth check? New Forever Lip Color stays on long, stays on smooth in one amazing stick.
Forever.
Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline.
Does dry skin grate on you? Discover Garnier Body Cocoon, the moisturiser with microfruit oils that leaves your skin smoother and softer. Garnier Body Cocoon. Goodbye dry skin, hello soft caress. Garnier. Body Cocoon, now winner of a Marie Claire Prix d'Excellence 2002.
The new SL55. Siemens Mobile.
Asda would like to thank the thousands of people who have helped roll back thousands of prices, which has resulted in Asda being voted the lowest priced supermarket for the 6th year running. So, everyone's happy. Always rolling back prices. That's Asda people.
Barking mad. All magicians are barking mad.
Are you watching closely?
Freaky and amazing.
Yeah, that's the one. Don't be fooled. These are the greatest magic tricks in the universe ever. Tomorrow at 8 on 5.
Remember Rick Moranis as the mad inventor who shrunk the kids? Well, next Saturday he gets a taste of his own medicine when he manages to shrink himself and his brother and both their wives. Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves is our family movie next Saturday at 5:45. On the way today, 5 News and Sport, followed by Charmed.
The 5 family movie with Cadbury fingers. Sorry, Thumb. It's a finger thing.
After disappointment in Slovenia, Liverpool must battle for a place in the UEFA Cup second round in a match they can't afford to lose. The stakes are high for Gerard Houllier as he attempts to silence his critics at Anfield.
My money's always on Liverpool for everything.
Catch all the action in the UEFA Cup second leg from 7:45 p.m. Wednesday. Liverpool versus Olimpia Ljubljana, followed by highlights of NAC Breda versus Newcastle United, live and exclusive on 5.
Barking mad. All magicians are barking mad.
No, it's not that one.
Freaky and amazing.
How about the floating light bulb?
Yeah, that's the one. Don't be fooled. These are the greatest magic tricks in the universe ever. Tomorrow at 8 on 5.
Our Saturday night 5 lineup to come includes Charmed in 20 minutes, then it's Alias at 8:15 and CSI Crime Scene Investigation at 9:05. First, the latest 5 News and Sport.
It's just after 7, I'm Charlie State. Tonight on 5 News, heavy security from Turkish police as defiant England soccer fans try to get into tonight's crucial match. Ian Duncan-Smith fights back against the Tory rebels. And Ireland are off to a winning start in the Rugby World Cup. Turkish police have mounted a massive security operation tonight to stop England football fans from watching their side's vital Euro 2004 qualifier. The FA had urged supporters not to travel to the game, but scores of fans ignored the advice. Some were stopped at the turnstiles tonight. More than 40 others have been put back on planes earlier today. But despite the highly charged atmosphere, there's so far no sign of trouble. John Gilbert reports from Istanbul.
As disguises go, they weren't the most convincing. 2 England fans in Turkish football shirts attempting to slip into the Fenerbahce stadium are spotted by police. Their smiles rapidly fading as they are led away. Worse was to come. Their final destination, a blacked-out bus and a one-way trip to a cell. This is football security, Turkish style. A few minutes earlier, the mood had been jocular, though their words, in retrospect, ironic.
We're wearing Turkish tops. This is part of our plan to get in the game tonight.
Yes, we've got the 2 tickets. We just picked them up about an hour ago. Yeah. £300 we paid, £300, £150 each for the tickets. So we've got these. We will get in. We're going to get in.
The Turkish authorities had promised security. They delivered. Thousands of heavily armed riot police encircled the ground with ticket spot checks and mandatory body searches. 55,000 exuberant Turkish fans, but of the feared English invasion, little sign. Earlier, a handful of the estimated 200 England fans who did make the trip, in defiance of the government and the FA, broke cover, but their mood was more pique than anger.
What I've come here for to prove is that I can travel, I'm allowed to travel, our passport says we can travel, and we're here. The FA were wrong to say we can't come here.
The largest legitimately ticketed contingent, Britons of Turkish extraction.
We're from London, we've come to watch a Turkey match, obviously Turkish, born and bred in London, but we're rooting Turkey here.
Yeah, all the way, all the way.
The authorities have done everything in their power to prevent tickets falling into the hands of English fans. In that respect, at least, they seem to have failed. I was able to buy this illicit black market ticket from a tout in broad daylight, untroubled by the police. It's in a Turkish name, but in every other respect, it's perfectly valid. I even paid in sterling.
But for most travelling England fans, it's been a bitter taste of reality.
I'm having something taken away from me that I don't believe is right. I think it's my right to be able to come to this country, to watch England play, and it should be policed, and the safety should be assured.
Some will regard this experiment in footballing apartheid as a triumph over violence, some a dangerous erosion of civil liberties. Tonight, the fans are free to enjoy the carnival, as long as they're not English. John Gilbert, Istanbul, 5 News.
Well, England fans arriving back in Britain today after being booted out of Turkey claimed that they'd been treated like animals. Some even said they'd been encouraged to go, despite strongly worded warnings not to. Phil Lavelle reports.
There were no welcome parties for these football fans as they arrived back at Heathrow Airport, just the now familiar sight of police. They'd hoped to watch tonight's crucial match live in Istanbul. Instead, the furthest they got was the city's airport before being sent straight home. Their only means of seeing the game now, in England, on TV. Despite the FA's warnings, some fans still believed they'd be welcome.
Gutted. A bit peed off, really. Yeah, wasting money for no reason whatsoever. 3 weeks ago, their government were inviting 3,000 English fans to go over there. Guaranteed safety, guaranteed everything. Have a good time, come and enjoy our hospitality. This is where we get treated.
45 fans were sent back to Heathrow and Manchester airports, but they say they don't regret trying to get into the country.
You've got to give it a go, haven't you, you know? He who dares wins, Robert.
It's not known how many England fans got through past the Turkish authorities, with some going to extraordinary lengths to avoid being stopped.
Another person went through and he's dressed like a city gent, three-piece suit and a briefcase of about 52. So like, I know of about 3 people.
For these fans, though, there is some good news, with several flights from Istanbul tonight delayed. At least this lot are now home in time to see whether their team make it through to Portugal next summer. Philip Lavelle, 5 News.
And I can tell you the latest score in the game itself in Istanbul is Turkey 0, England 0, and we'll bring you the highlights plus news of Scotland and the Republic of Ireland's qualifying matches later in the programme. The Tory leader Ian Duncan Smith is getting tough on those within his own party who are plotting against him. His chief whip, David McLean, plans to interview rebels and hand out written warnings. If the MPs fail a loyalty test, the warning letters will be sent on to local party activists. Margaret Fjord reports.
The Conservative leader Ian Duncan Smith had hoped this performance would be enough to silence his critics and save his job.
And to those who doubt and those who deliberate, I say this: don't work for Tony Blair. Get on board or get out of the way, for we have work to do.
But after a conference that was meant to showcase new policy but was overshadowed by talk of a leadership challenge, party chiefs are getting tough. David McLean, the chief whip seen here leaving the conference hall this week, plans to interview about 6 rebel MPs suspected of plotting against their leader. They include the former Shadow Foreign Secretary John Maples. He's denied being involved in any plot and said the summons was outrageous. Michael Portillo, who described the Blackpool conference as the worst in living memory, may also be among the MPs to be called before the chief whip.
We now, as a party, must resolve this issue. We cannot allow it to go on any longer. We have either got to give Ian the vote of confidence, or we've got to get on with the process of selecting a new leader.
Those who fail to convince the leadership this week of their loyalty will be issued with written warnings that will be copied to their constituency parties. For Ian Duncan Smith, it's a high-risk strategy. Although it's aimed at bringing the dissident MPs back into line, it might lead the rebels to decide they have nothing left to lose. Margaret Fjord, Central London, 5 News.
An American babysitter is facing charges of child abuse after being caught on camera violently shaking a baby. The infant's parents had secretly filmed the incident after suspecting their child was being abused. Elaine Park reports.
The child's head snapping back, bam, bam, bam.
Caught on camera, these shocking pictures show a nanny violently shaking a 5-month-old baby girl in her care. Then she goes into the kitchen and appears to slam the baby onto the floor. The girl's parents suspected their daughter was being abused and installed surveillance cameras in the house, but nothing prepared them for the true horror these images captured. 29-year-old Claudia Rosa Moreau was hired from a nanny agency. Now she's been arrested and charged with 4 counts of child abuse.
They went back and they started reviewing the tapes closer than they had previously, and they noticed some very disturbing and repugnant views on the tape of the nanny actually vigorously shaking this child, basically snapping the child's head back and forth, and also on a separate incident actually throwing, it appears to be like the nanny was throwing the child onto the ground in the kitchen.
As a grandfather viewing these videos, I'm aghast. The words can't say what I observed. If I had my druthers, which I don't, I would love to be left in a room with this lady.
The baby has no serious injuries, but her parents know installing hidden cameras possibly saved their daughter's life. Elaine Park, 5 News.
More stories making the news this evening. An Iraqi policeman has been killed and 6 others injured in a grenade attack on a checkpoint south of Baghdad. It came as American troops arrested 4 men suspected of attacking US forces in Saddam Hussein's hometown of Tikrit. 2 are thought to be former members of Saddam's security forces. Relatives of some of the Britons who died in the Bali bombing are planning to sue the government for failing to warn travellers that there might be a terrorist attack. Tomorrow is the first anniversary of the atrocity, in which more than 200 people died, including 26 British citizens. Syria has said that it will defend itself against attack by Israel. The warning follows last week's Israeli bombing of a site on Syrian soil claimed to be a terrorist training camp. Israel says that states which harbour terrorists are legitimate targets. Jonas is here now with All Day Sport. Jonas, we've got football, of course, we've got rugby and Grand Prix.
We do, thanks Charlie. Indeed, a heck of a lot of sport. We'll start with football, and England are currently still drawing 0-0 against Turkey. It could not be a more hostile environment for Sven-Göran Eriksson's side. They're playing in Istanbul with supposedly no fans in the stadium. Knowing a win or draw is essential. Colin Campbell rounds up the story of the first half.
A stadium awash with red shirts, not an English fan in sight. A cauldron of intimidation greeted Beckham and co. A furnace-like atmosphere for a crunch match. A week of footballing controversy, players' patriotism questioned. A win or draw vital. The first 10 minutes saw England dominate Paul Scholes with the first effort on goal. Turkey started jittery but replied with several shots on target. This overhead effort from Nihat. Seconds later, this long-range effort tipped over the bar by David James. At the other end, fancy footwork from Steven Gerrard earned England a vital penalty. David Beckham stepped up to take it, but astonishingly struck the ball high into the air, clearly slipping as he took the spot kick, to the delight of both Turkish fans and players. The half ended a game of missed opportunities for both sides, Turkey looking increasingly dangerous. The goading of David Beckham continuing as the players left the pitch. Colin Campbell, 5 News.
Well, Scotland needed victory at Hampden Park this afternoon for any chance of making it through to the playoffs for the Euro 2004 finals in Portugal. They were up against the former Soviet state of Lithuania. It ended Scotland 1, Lithuania 0. John Leonard has this report.
Lithuania stopped being a pushover some time ago. A Scottish side suffering any real potency in attack almost suffered. Robert Douglas making a fine save to keep the score goalless at half-time. But after the break, the Scots became more lively. Jamie McFadden's cross was flicked on by Stevie Crawford, only for the ball to be booted off the line. McFadden was having a superb game and his trickery almost pulled off what would have been, albeit a lucky opener, the ball going off a defender and crashing off the post. But then relief at last at Hampden Park. McFadden again played a vital part before Darren Fletcher, one of Man United's up-and-coming players, popped up to blast the ball home. It wasn't overall a great performance from Scotland, but importantly they won. They're in the playoffs for the Euro 2004 finals. John Leonard, 5 News.
Well, Northern Ireland were also in action this afternoon. They lost 1-0 away in Greece. That's 14 straight matches without a victory, and they also still can't score a goal. The Republic of Ireland, meanwhile, have also missed out on qualification. They were beaten 2-0 by Switzerland, and incidentally, Wales play Serbia and Montenegro later on this evening. The Rugby Union World Cup kicked off yesterday when the host nation Australia beat Argentina. But today it kicked into a higher gear with 4 matches played. Of the home nations, only Ireland were in action. They beat Romania 45-17 in windy conditions, gaining a bonus point and going top of their group above Australia.
So, 7 weeks of World Cup rugby is now well underway. Day 2 of the tournament sprang no surprises, and all 4 matches ended in inevitable and predictable results. Firstly, New Zealand dismissed Italy by 70 points to 7 in Melbourne. The All Blacks' performance will have just about every other team worried. They scored 11 tries, including that sensational one, started by Daniel Carter, finished by Doug Howlett. Joe Rokocoko crossed the line twice in the match, achieving the most amount of tries in a year ever for the All Blacks. Their day was marred, however, by captain Tana Umaga, who's been taken to hospital with an injured knee and could miss the rest of the World Cup. Later in the day, at the Central Coast Stadium in Gosford, Ireland faced Romania. Eddie O'Sullivan's team managed 5 tries, Shane Horgan grabbing the first one under the posts. The inspirational Keith Wood burst onto this ball and scored his first try of the tournament. They would probably have scored more were it not for a very strong wind they played against in the second half. Winger Dennis Hickey scored twice, and Ireland did enough to gain a bonus point, and in fact they go above Australia in Pool A. Romania were awarded a penalty try and scored another, but it was Ireland's day. Final score Ireland 45, Romania 17. In Brisbane, France proved too strong for Fiji. Christophe Dominici sprinted over for that try and in fact added another at the very end of the game. But watch this, an early contender for try of the tournament came from Fijian Rupeni Zauzau, who ran around pretty much the entire French team to score an incredible try. Final score though, France 61, Fiji 18. And finally, a disappointing 17,000 crowd turned up in Perth to watch South Africa thrash Uruguay 72-6. No less than 12 tries were scored by the South Africans, including the first one that came after just 66 seconds. Juice van der Westhuizen led by example and got a hat-trick of tries. They face a much tougher game next weekend when South Africa face Cup favourites England.
Indeed. Meanwhile, on home soil, the Zurich Premiership continues. Gloucester beat Leicester 24-3 at Kingsholm and go up to 3rd in the table. Nigel Melville's side scored 2 tries. This one was the second one. Colin Todd intercepted a risky pass close to Leicester's line and went over for the 5 points. The win would have been more convincing if James Simpson-Daniel completed his hard work and actually touched the ball down properly, but his effort in injury time was disallowed. Nonetheless, it was a good win for Gloucester. Well, here are the rest of the day's results from the Zurich Premiership. Bath continued their perfect start to the season with a 47-3 romp over Rotherham. Harlequins beat Newcastle 18-11, and at Franklin Gardens it finished Northampton 24, London Irish 30. Michael Schumacher suffered a nightmare qualifying session for tomorrow's Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka, but still declared that he was happy. Schumacher, who needs just a point to secure yet another world title, will start in 14th place on the grid. That's his worst performance in qualifying for 8 years. His only rival, Kimi Raikkonen, is 6 places ahead of him for tomorrow's start. Schumacher's teammate Rubens Barrichello will start in pole position after the rain-affected session. Well, that's it. I can tell you that the latest in the footy is still England 0, Turkey 0. That's it, Charlie.
Jonas, thank you. That's it from us. Good night.
Five Weather, sponsored by